and she's a counter-protester and is against your cause. What are the sort of things that that protester has said to you while you've been coming in and out of this hearing?
Well, it's been very hard to hear because there's a lot of construction. I just hear her shouting my name a lot. I heard her say something, I think just now, about she can't wait till I go back to jail. But other than that, I haven't really.
Did she mention anything about terrorism?
I believe that's right on her sign.
And what's it say?
It says, "Go home, terrorists."
Okay. I just want to start out with some just general question. At any time during the protest, had you been given a court order injunction to move the trucks or leave or what have you, what would you have done and how would you have acted?
I would have obviously followed the injunction. I never intended or came here to break the law. I would have asked if there was a way that we could remain, if there was anything that we could work out so that we could remain and continue our protest.
Okay. And you heard yesterday the evidence from Mr. Dichter, did you not?
I heard some of it, yes.
Right. And he testified about not knowing about the deal that the Convoy Corp or Freedom Corp and the board were going to enter into with the city. Do you have any comment about that?
I believe he was obviously not able to attend because he was in a cast, but I believe we had dialed him in on the phone to be present at that meeting.
Right. And so at that meeting, what was discussed?
I believe that was the deal with the mayor.
Okay. And what, if any, board members objected to the dealings with the mayor?
I don't recall anybody objecting to it.
Yeah. And you heard him give evidence that the board members were scared of the lawyers and what they were dealing with. Do you have any comment in that respect?
That was news to me.
Okay. Have any of the other board members expressed such a fear to you?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Now, I just want to talk with you about the letter and some of the reactions that you got from some of the protesters. Of course, we know that Mr. Dichter didn't appear to like the letter, and Mr. King didn't appear to like the letter. What was your general responses that you were getting at the time with respect to the letter and the deal that was going to be done through the city?
Well, I can't speak to other places. I know that we printed off that letter and I went out to 88 and spoke with the gentleman that owned the property out there and some of the truckers that were there. Their response was very positive. I think that everyone felt that, as I stated earlier, this was a step one.
Okay. And again, what was the sort of responses, though, that you were getting on the street from some of the truckers after that deal was announced?
I don't remember.
Can you remember if was there some negative responses? Was there some positive responses that you personally witnessed?
I didn't witness any negative responses, no.
Okay. And I understand that Mr. Marazzo, as you sat through his testimony, he stated that the purpose of the meeting and the goal of Freedom Corp and its board was not really to get a deal with the mayor, it was a meeting with the mayor, but it was to get this deal to make things work peacefully. Can you elaborate on that?
Can you repeat that, please?
So the actual goal with respect to Freedom Corp as well as the protesters that you were representing, their actual goal was not to achieve a meeting with the mayor, but it was to deal with this in a peaceful manner. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, well, that was obviously our goal, and again, to get the trucks off the residential streets. We were hoping to find a way that the trucks that did have to move their vehicles out of the city would be able to come back in and continue the protest. And again, we felt it was a step in the right direction, and meeting with the mayor was not one of my goals, but I thought, again, it was a way to open some dialogue with somebody in a position of authority.
Okay. And just on my last point here, part of this commission is about coming up with recommendations and things like that. I take it when you came into Ottawa, and we've heard evidence that a lot of the truckers were directed where to park, and that's where they kind of stayed throughout the proceeding or throughout the protest. And so there is this issue in what I refer to and what's referred to in some of the jurisprudence is a speaker's corner. Have you ever heard of that?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's a place, a location in a government area, particularly out front of Parliament or where have you, where protesters are permitted to go, and it's a designated area for protest.
Okay.
I take it when you were trying to get the protest moving, most of the protesters were wanting to get onto Wellington because it's in front of Parliament and they were protesting the federal government. Fair?
Correct.
All right. And what is your understanding of the current state of Wellington today?
I believe it's blocked off.
Right. And if that area that's blocked off became a speaker's corner, where individuals at any time could go and protest the federal government, what are your thoughts on that?
I think that would be a good idea. I think Canadians have a right to exercise their democratic rights, and they have a right to have their voices heard.
Right. And my friends from the Government of Canada put to you a whole bunch of evidence that you weren't familiar with until you got here with respect to threats. Can you elaborate on any of the threats you've received, ones that you know members of the protesters received, as well as the legal counsel, and even any of the legal counsel in this room since this proceeding started?
I know, well, I heard when I was at the ARC that the ARC was receiving death threats against me, which is one of the reasons why I left that location. I have messages on my phone from an Instagram account from a young man that wanted to not just shoot me, but also shoot the rest of the protesters or the convoy organizers. I know that my criminal lawyer has received some very nasty emails. I believe Mr. Wilson has received death threats and threatening emails.
Right. And so it's fair to say then that there has been a lot of threats on both sides.
That's fair.
Okay. But do you know anybody who's made death threats to any of these individuals?
Of course not.
And when you walk in here every day for the past few days, there's a protester outside, and I'm sure you've heard everything she's been saying, and she's a counter-protester and is against your cause. What are the sort of things that protester has said to you while you've been coming in and out of this hearing?
Well, it's been very hard to hear because there's a lot of construction. I just hear her shouting my name a lot. I heard her say something, I think just now, about she can't wait till I go back to jail, but other than that, I haven't really.
Did she mention anything about terrorism?
I believe that's right on her sign.
And what's it say?
It says, "Go home, terrorists."
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any re-examination?
No, Mr. Commissioner.
Okay, I just have one question. You were taken to a chart and told there were charges for violent offenses.
Yes.
Do you know who was charged? Do you know the
With
four people?
violent offenses?
Yeah, the four people.
I know I don't. Not that I can recall anyways.
So you don't know if it's someone you know or someone you don't know?
I do not, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you for your testimony,
Thank you, sir.
and you're now free to go.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.